Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Gaming Perspective podcast. It's been a while. A while's an understatement. I think last upload was a month and a half ago. So we've been gone. I was dealing with some things. I was out of province for work. And believe it or not everywhere has great internet connections. So we're back and more feisty and laid back than ever. Great combination. So we've got a full panel tonight, so I will quickly dabble through introductions and people can tell you where they're from because I am terrible with introductions. If you've been watching this show, you should know this by now. Sam.
Hey there, everybody. Wow, it feels weird being back. It feels good, but I'm not going to lie. It feels a little weird. It's going to take a minute to get used to this. Hope everyone's been well after our extended hiatus there because Nick had work and Eric is lazy. I mean, these things happen. So it's what we have to do. It's what we have to do. But we're all back together now, and we've got a lot of good stuff. And yeah, it should be. Today should be fun. It should be relaxed, but it should be fun.
I will give that dunk a solid Owen Wilson. Wow. Also introducing Jared.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. It's nice to be back. I'm excited to get talking with you guys again. It's always nice to chat games with you guys because it gets interesting. It definitely gets a little feisty, I guess, as Nick said. But I'm excited, so let's get going.
See, me and Jared's idea of feisty is bumping into each other going, sorry, eh? As we hold our titties.
Nice beard.
Nice beard, dude.
Let's chug back a 2-6 there, eh, bud?
Good God. All right. Eric and Sam are like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Okay, I'll pump it up to a 40-pounder there, eh?
Okay, stop. No one's going to understand us. YouTube does not subtitle Canadian well. And Eric?
Hey, yep. Happy to be back. Yeah, it has been a while. Back from the hammock in the backyard.
And those damn iguanas and dinosaurs.
Coconut with the umbrella in it. Yeah. I don't know if I told you guys, like, the iguana thing here. I sent you that picture the other day. But it's like a major epidemic in a way now because I saw a billboard the other day that said iguana removal. I'm like, oh, that's a business now. Someone has a business. So when it becomes a business, then it's like, yeah, okay, I guess people are making phone calls like, come get these things out of my yard. They're eating all my vegetation. They're leaving like mini dog piles, like levels of poop around. Yeah, wow. Iguana poop kind of looks like almost like a little toy terrier left it. It's kind of weird.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna go down to Florida, enjoy the nice weather, and start my own iguana catching business.
Dude, man, get in on the ground floor.
Ship some my way. I'll take some.
Yeah, I'll kind of
exotic animals up here, man. I'll make a buck.
There's like tons of babies. I think it's too cold, man. You'll come out, your iguana just be like stiff as a board.
Yeah.
And especially where Jared is. Y'all way too cold up there. You guys have a snowstorm and crap going on right now.
It's snowed today. It's gonna snow tonight. We got 10 to 15 centimeters coming tomorrow, as far as I know, or at least by Monday.
You keep that voodoo to yourself. It dropped to friggin' 5 degrees Celsius in Montreal. I had like 4 layers on and 2 pairs of pants. Like, no, I'm not ready for this.
He's like, oh, baby, what did you do?
Yeah, basically. So it's basically been a month. And hopefully you guys actually played some video games in the past month.
A couple here and there.
Here and there, dabble. I'm gonna leave mine till last because mine's an actual like emotional thing. So, because I just finished a game that kind of blew me away. So we'll talk about that at the end. So we'll start with Jared.
Jared's
like, crap, I didn't play any games all month.
Jared's been busy, man.
No, it's not that. I played too many games. I can't pick one. I got a lot. Okay. Hold up. Okay. I got a Nintendo Switch Lite. I played Link's Awakening. Kind of dabbling in it before we started the podcast or anything as well. It's so much fun. a hell of a lot of fun. Started the Surge 2. That's a blast. Borderlands 3. Got to love max level 50. Beat the game. I've been grinding it a bit. Been a hell of a game to play. What else have I been playing? Oh my goodness. Of course, been playing Destiny 2 and a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, I can't. Oh, World of Warcraft, classic and regular. I'm back into those as well every now and then. Started that back up, and I'll stop there.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah,
He's been busy, man.
I do what I can. I diversify. I got them receipts.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot knock it, and I have to get into WoW Classic because that launched while I was gone. And I'm seeing I've seen Jez Corden. They're all like, look at these screenshots. I'm like, I friggin' hate all you guys right now.
So
Sitting there playing Gears Pop because I can only get my phone to connect to the Wi-Fi, so that was the only thing I could play the whole friggin' 3 weeks I was gone.
Oh yeah, that's right. Gears Pop and Gears 5 came out too. That's right, guys. How could I forget that one? Oh my god, shame.
Don't worry, I'm sure the Game Awards will forget Gears 5 too. And for those keeping track at home, that is a shot and a dunk all in one. All right. Eric, what have you been playing, my friend?
Yeah, I've been kind of all over the place, all over the different systems here. Been dabbled in a little bit of Astral Chain, which kind of got replaced by Gears 5 when that dropped. So yeah, a lot of Gears 5, and then I jumped on Borderlands 3. Yes, Nick, Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
I'll say it again, Nick. Borderlands 3.
I'm so
Eric, who made that? Who's the head of Gearbox?
Oh my god.
You know who it is?
That would be one Randy Pickford.
Indeed it would. Randy Pitchford. Wow.
I can't wait till you guys get the pre-ordered DLC with the USB stick. Anyways, moving right along before we completely derail the first episode back.
This quickly already?
Yeah, so Borderlands 3. And that's coming from somebody who's not the biggest Borderlands fan, but I'm actually really digging it. I shouldn't say Borderlands fan. I didn't play the first game. I've got through a good portion of the second game and kind of got distracted by something else. And but it's kind of got its hooks in me. So I'm really digging Borderlands 3. I got to get back to Control. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think, they patched it. Well, I don't know if the Xbox, has the Xbox patched it yet?
It hit, yes.
It did hit. Did they fix the map? Does anyone know?
I haven't been back in to see.
Okay.
All I know is I know performance was definitely improved.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Good. Like the stuttering issue when you exited out of the map has been improved.
Ooh, man. Pausing and coming back.
Dude, that was awful.
It's like I was passing out.
It was awful. I have never seen like that because it happened every single time. I dreaded opening the map because it's like, I know when I exit this, the frame rate is going to tank. And I open it, I just put the controller down. I'm like, yep. Give yourself a couple of seconds. Fix yourself.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know what that's all about.
Yes, I got to get back and check that. Hopefully they did something with the map because that map was insane. And other than that, like Jared, I'm just getting started on Link's Awakening.
Yeah, man. So, it's really good. It's cute too. Honestly, I like.
It's super adorable, man.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely adorable. It's like something I definitely get my kid to start playing, but then watch how frustrated and mad they get, how they can't figure out the item puzzle at the start, and just get absolutely pissed off and never play the game again.
Yeah, I was gonna let Sarah sit down and mess around with it. I don't think she's seen it on screen yet. I know she's gonna fall in love with it. She tried to steal the amiibo already.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I have I have a bin next to my desk here, full of amiibos or different little figurines and stuff. So she'll come in the room and and she's looking at it. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Just trying to decide which one I'm taking next."
I want that one.
Right. So, because I'm kind of like that person too. I'll leave them in the box, and not open them. Oh no, she rectified that one day. She came in and had 4 or 5 of them. She's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna open this one, this one, and this one." And I'm like, "All right, do your thing. Go for it. Go for it." So yeah, but yeah, that's what I've been playing, man. So
Awesome.
Lots of stuff. It's again, I know ad nauseum we say this constantly. It's not stopping. It's hitting harder. Pause. Yeah. So,
Damn, you had to throw the pause in there. I had a really good joke lined up, and it's just gonna go right down the middle, and you just steered it right off.
that's what she said.
Oh,
Yeah, so many things to play, man. It's insane.
It is.
I need to add in while I edit these podcasts. I need to have a little counter in the bottom, and that's the amount of time Sam face palms to the podcast. All right, Sam, what have you been playing?
A little bit simpler, but only just a little bit. For the month of September, which is what I'll limit it to, I've mainly just been playing Gears 5 and Monster Hunter World Iceborne. I've played Gears 5 almost twice now. I've poured dozens of hours into the multiplayer, the escape mode, the horde. I love it. I love it so much. It's easily my game of the year. Not even a question. The campaign is phenomenal. I'm not going to go on too much about that because I think you have some things to say, and I think we might even be kind of doing a dedicated episode on Gears, maybe in the near future. So I don't want to say too much, but it's phenomenal. Go play it. Just go play it. And beyond that, Monster Hunter World Iceborne, it's more of Monster Hunter World, except it's even more challenging, and that's not a bad thing. Like it's more monsters, it's classic monsters from the series they've brought in, new environments, lots of crazy stuff, very difficult. You have to grind for your high quality weapons and armor. I have an armor suit that has beards. It has 20 beards. My power is overwhelming through these beards. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it. So yeah, that's what I've been playing. Just mainly those two games. I have been playing 30 minutes of Fire Emblem Three Houses here or there. Still nowhere near close to finishing it, but technically I'm making progress. And I'm probably, yeah, I know, Eric, I know. And so I'm keeping on moving, even if I'm just inching along. Good game. I'm liking it. And then I stopped Control because I had to jump on Gears and Monster Hunter for content for Mobile Nations. But I'm going to go back and finish Control hopefully tomorrow. And wrap that up because I made a lot of progress in August when it first released. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you don't 100% that game, we're gonna have to take your Remedy fan card. So, chop chop.
I gotta do what I do for work, man. For work.
I hear you.
Yeah, Sam, I totally forgot about Fire Emblem Three Houses.
That's the kind of year this has been. That's the kind of year this has been.
And
like, that came out this year. Ooh.
Yeah, I told you guys I forgot Wolfenstein 2. I'm like, oh yeah, I do have that to play. The hell?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that either. Oh crap!
It's hard to think too. Like,
Jared, we might have to rock on that one together, man.
Oh hell yeah, man!
Yeah, Nick, we got to get back on that together ourselves.
Yeah, I'm almost done. I've got got like 90% story completion right now.
I'm not even close to that.
I got really into it, and then Sam got super busy, so I was like, okay, screw this guy. I'll play it by myself. It's hard as hell by yourself, which they apparently patched.
Yeah, I'm go home.
But, yeah, so I've basically only been playing Gears since I got back, because I've got to get the Inner Circle review out for it. I got my review code the day I was at the hotel of my 3-week stint, and I was like, I'm like, this is how this is gonna go. So I got home. I was like only one. Yeah, I started off like I got maybe an hour in before the internet started acting up out there. So got home, started playing it, and man, the Coalition has truly delivered on what I knew they could do. In terms of not only gameplay mechanics, but in terms of writing as well. I'm not going to be one of those people that's screaming media bias and blah, 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 but it blows my mind that this game is only 1 point higher, I think, than Gears 4, because looking at them back to back, I'm like, it doesn't even feel close to the same game in terms of storytelling, everything else. The amount of character progression that happened in 5 is phenomenal. Once again, I don't want to go into details in case people haven't played it, but there's choices that you have to make throughout that they start you off really easy, like, oh, this is an easy choice. Oh, this is an easy choice. And near the end, they give you one hell of a choice that
I did not see that coming. Did
Yeah.
not see that
No.
coming.
Yeah.
Man.
Like, it's one hell of a ride. And being able to take JD, like, without going into spoilers or anything else, of course, being able to take JD, who I thought was pretty generic in Gears 4, and making him a morally complicated character, and also giving Del, finding a way to give Del, Kate, and a whole host of characters their shine is great. The amount of character balance in that and character development across all the characters was phenomenal. How I went from hating Faz at the start to actually liking him in the end blew my mind. Also, that scene with him and Marcus is still, I don't care what anyone says. I didn't watch that clip when everyone was laughing at it on Twitter, so I got to experience that naturally in the campaign. Hey, what's your name again? Foz? Foz, shut the fuck up. Thank you.
Yeah, you got to get the whole thing's like Foz, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Foz.
Shut the fuck up,
So good.
Yeah.
And see, the thing is like, what I like about the writing is it's still Gears. Like, there's still that, like, bro camaraderie stuff that the series is known for. But there's also some really intense emotional moments in that game. Like, even just from the get-go, I think it's the end of Act 1. Is it the end of Act 1? Yeah, it's the end of Act 1. Before you switch to Kate, and you make a really bad decision call, and it backfires painfully. And I was like, man, I ain't ready to feel this early in this game. That really hit me on the side, because, like, I played through Gears 4 and I was kind of like, it was fun, but I didn't really feel anything. This game actually made me feel something, and I don't like feeling things.
Gears 4, I think Gears 4 had good dialogue for whatever it's worth. But
It had-
Gears
I'm not
5, but Gears 5, hold on, I just want to say this, Nick. Gears 5 does this incredible thing where it has some of the most natural dialogue in the series, some of the funniest dialogue in the series, and then it immediately gut punches you afterwards because it catches you off guard
Yeah.
with what it's doing.
Yeah.
And it's really incredible. I love it.
We definitely need to do a spoiler cast, because there's a lot to unbox with that game. And I'm just really happy it turned out as well as it did. And I'm actually excited to see what they do next with it, which is not something I said at the end of Gears 4.
There you go.
Yep.
So take that with a grain of salt. My full review will be out at the end of the weekend. So keep an eye out for that. Dabbled in Horde. Love it. They fixed all the stupid card bullshit that they had in 4. Love it. No more of that I'm not going to call it microtransaction, but you guys know what I'm talking about. No more of that crap. Escape, I did a couple of rounds today because I had a challenge for it, and it's pretty fun. Ammo is pretty scarce in the mode to start out with. It can get a little hectic, especially on the harder difficulties. But all in all, really great all-around package for that game. So, spend that dollar on the Game Pass and give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to move right into the news. As a side note, I didn't throw this in the news for the guys because I didn't want them to know about this topic. But one of the most important games of our generation released last week, and nobody's talking about it. No one is talking about the Colonel Sanders, a finger-licking good dating simulator.
Nick, we're moving on. Moving on.
That's because apparently only people only want Popeye's chicken sandwiches nowadays.
But it's finger licking good, guys.
I want to see. I want Popeyes to fire back and have a Popeyes chicken sandwich dating simulator, because I swear y'all in the States would line up for that.
We love our greasy foods, man.
I do too. I didn't get 300 pounds not liking greasy food. I'll tell you what. So, in a surprising announcement, like when Sam sent me this article, I was like, "What?" So In 2019, we were getting Call of Duty Modern Warfare, as if it didn't need to feel like 2007 again. To make you feel even more blasted Back to the Future, we're getting a Medal of Honor game next year. But it's not necessarily what everyone expects it is. So it's Medal of Honor, but it's done by Respawn, which, by the way, I don't know how Respawn has all the time for Apex Legends, Star Wars, and now this. They're doing a lot of work. I think EA's like, this is the only studio we have that still makes good things. Make them make everything. So, Medal of Honor, Above and Beyond, it is an immersive World War II VR experience for Oculus VR. It contains a single-player campaign as well as a variety of multiplayer modes that Respawn says they look to build on through their player-based feedback. And they said they want to make one of the most immersive VR titles on the market, which it's Respawn, so I kind of actually believe they could do it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you guys, well, I know none of us have VR headsets, but anyone interested? Actually, let's phrase this as a better question. Do you think EA's testing the waters with a VR game with Respawn to see if they bring back Medal of Honor?
It's impossible to tell with EA.
Yeah.
It's impossible
Yeah.
to tell.
The only reason I bring it up is because Battlefield 5 we know underperformed. So do you think they'll shelve Battlefield to bring Medal of Honor back?
They will not shelve Battlefield altogether because even though it underperformed, it's still one of their big games. However, I definitely believe that since they have another studio that understands first-person shooters, they're testing the waters, I think. In terms of Medal of Honor. I'll tell you what, guys. If you'd asked me which series do you think is coming back this year or coming back in 2020, Medal of Honor wouldn't have been in my top 20 or my top 50. I mean, I liked it. Yeah, any of you guys remember Medal of Honor Rising Sun?
Mm-hmm.
I played so much of that, especially the Pearl Harbor level as a kid. I love that game. But it's definitely weird. Nick, you mentioned how is Respawn doing all of this? I mean, they're a large studio. They've got 315 or so developers, I believe. It's well over 300. So they've got plenty of people to work on stuff. But nonetheless, Respawn definitely seems to be taking the lead as EA's premier studio.
The thing that blows me away with Respawn is it's the same thing with the Coalition as well, is how fast they're able to turn out a AAA experience. Like, it's literally disgusting how fast they can just throw something together and be like, boom, game. That's like, wow, okay.
Well, okay, so to be fair, one thing to keep in mind is we actually knew that Oculus and Respawn had a partnership and were working on something since 2017, early 2017. So to be fair, this has probably been in development for a long time, for like the last 2 years, by just a handful of people. And now that it's getting closer to release, they're like, okay, we're going to get a few more on deck so we can finish it up. So that's one thing to keep in mind. This probably did not take even a significant chunk of the development staff.
No, because most of that development staff, I would imagine, will be on Star Wars and Apex.
Yeah, for sure. The lion's share would be divided between those two.
So yeah, Medal of Honor comes back. It's VR. I hope they bring like the actual series back. I think a next-gen Medal of Honor to kick off would be phenomenal. And if you made a next-gen Medal of Honor made by Respawn, I'd be there day one. Guaranteed.
Yeah, that'd be damn impressive. Because look at Titanfall.
Yeah.
Man, I remember how impressive that game was on PS1, man, from the sound design and everything. It was like a... Yeah, it was so... Yeah.
It was a Call of Duty.
I played the hell out of that game.
Before the Call of Duty, basically.
Remember, you guys remember when Medal of Honor was the series that Call of Duty was trying to compete with?
Yep. And then they just got lapped somehow. Like, it just kind of...
Until, like, I don't think most people even are aware that a Medal of Honor game came out in 2012.
And I actually like series and the gameplay better in Medal of Honor, personally. Much more.
Well, see, the thing is when what people don't remember is what really drove the divide and what kind of killed Medal of Honor was Modern Warfare. That was the game that blew Call of Duty up.
Yeah.
Because people, like, everything was a World War II shooter, and Call of Duty was like, hey, modern shooter.
And at the time, it was an amazing, revolutionary, oh my god, what have you done type
Yeah.
idea.
Mhm.
Yes. And like the thing is like Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 not only had some of the best multiplayer experiences, they also had fantastic campaigns, which Medal of Honor always had fantastic campaigns. And I remember spending a lot of time playing like local multiplayer, but I
Mhm.
cannot remember ever playing Medal of Honor online.
Yeah.
Very, very like few gaps. Like I remember playing the remake, or wherever you want to call that one that came out in like 2009, 2010, where they
Mhm.
went modern.
Oh, yeah.
It had the campaign was good. The multiplayer is eh. And the one Sam's talking about, Warfighter, that is like the one of the most like panned games on Xbox 360 and PS3 generation. It sits at like a 49 and a 52 on Metacritic between PC, PS.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
It was awful.
Mhm.
It like they had one color, brown. That was the whole game. It was just a palette of brown. I remember playing that game. I was like, I can't shoot anyone because everything is one color. Like we always make jokes about how everything had like a brown hue to it in the Xbox 360 and PS3 era with shooters and everything else, but Medal of Honor Warfighter took it to a whole different level. It's like, oh look, even the sky is brown. But yeah, Medal of Honor comes back now for some. Once again, Respawn making news again. So Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order got a new trailer. Kind of gave us a look into the lead characters' motivations and kind of gave us a perfect bite-sized amount of the story to get us interested. I'm good going forward on this. This is all I need to see. Just give me the game now. How about you guys? Did you guys watch the trailer? Did you enjoy it?
Oh man, I was
Oh.
already in after E3,
Mhm.
but this one just solidified it. I was
Yep,
like,
absolutely.
and I was like, and after that one, I was like, I don't need to see anything else.
Yep.
Man.
Yep.
It's just
They seem to be taking this game like so serious. Like it's like they truly want to deliver, you know, what that single player experience that people have been begging for in a Star Wars game.
Yeah.
You know, because I
Absolutely.
know there were criticisms around the E3 trailer that, you know, in some cases it looked a little stiff, it looked a little, you know, like rigid, a little janky at times or whatever. And it kind of looks like they answered that, you know, in the new trailer. Like they
Mhm.
definitely went back and, you know, put some polish in it, maybe took some of that feedback and, you know, fixed some of the things. So
I'll tell you guys this. I know it's not an RPG, but other than that, this is what I would always imagined a modern Knights of the Old Republic would look like.
mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Like even there's a galaxy map, and you can choose one of like 4 different planets to go between, and you
Yep.
can choose the order you're doing your missions. And like this big bat monster comes down, and the lightsaber fighting looks so good. It's everything I want as a Star
I'm
Wars
set.
fan.
I'm sad.
Eric, I agree with you 100%. Where it's like it seems like this game, maybe it's just this game that EA has signed off on, but like this game is designed to be the no, we're serious. EA's gonna make a good game
Yeah.
type thing. Where it's like, okay, and if that's the case, I tip my hat to you.
Mhm.
I really do. It just, and even like the way it's tying into the end of the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels with like the Imperial Inquisitor. who
Yeah.
I believe she's the second sister, is the one who's coming after you. Like, oh man, like
Mhm.
great
'cause-
voice acting too. I don't know who's doing the voice for her, but it's like husky. It's like really intimidating and like she's to be taken seriously type deal.
Yeah. And the thing with the Inquisitors too, like from Rebels and everything, is like there's like a lead. Not I shouldn't say like a legion of them, but it's definitely like an order of them. You know, and they were definitely used. They went along with Vader like on missions to like hunt down and kill Jedi and things like that. And they are force sensitive, but I don't know if they're not like Jedi level, but they definitely are dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Right,
You know?
right. It's like because you get the sense of like obviously the rebellion hasn't been founded, but it's like at the same time this is fresh after the Clone Wars ended. The Empire doesn't have a firm grasp on everything.
Right.
My brother Joseph actually has a theory that you're using a half of your master's lightsaber, and that the prologue is going to be set during the beginning or the end of the Clone Wars, and the tutorial is going to be fighting through the clones as Order 66 happens. That's his theory, not mine, and I love it.
That's a good
theory. I think it's a good theory, and because it looks like it's it was a dual edged lightsaber that was like severed in half
That's what it looks
at
like.
some point.
Yep.
Yeah, because the bottom of it is sort of like destroyed and mangled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. Because you would think, if he was like a Padawan, who's just trying to survive, he probably had not gotten that far in the training.
Right, exactly. So how did he make it out okay?
Right.
If he saw if his master like gave his or her life to save him, like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So this will be the first single-player Star Wars game since The Force Unleashed 2 in 2010.
Yep.
Been a while.
Since then, we had Star Wars The Old Republic, which was the massive online multiplayer MMO, I believe, which people loved.
Mm-hmm.
No knocks against that. It was great for what it was. And we've gotten Battlefront 1 and 2, which all those games did was make me go buy the original ones on Steam.
Okay, I'll say this. The new Battlefront 2 is a legitimately good game these days.
Yes.
I
have
say
to
that.
agree. And it's graphically just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It is.
Yeah,
honestly,
I'm not denying that, but I'm really sick and tired of having to wait a year and a half for games to be good.
I'm not disagreeing. But Nick, I'll one up you. Do you guys realize that not counting the EA Originals program, where EA is giving publishing money and giving a little bit of help to indie developers like A Way Out or Fee or Sea of Solitude, so not counting those, do you guys realize that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order will be their first single-player only game since 2013? Even Dragon Age Inquisition and Mass Effect Andromeda technically had small online modes.
Wow.
The last one was Dead Space 3.
Oh.
Or Crisis 3. Depends. They came out basically at the same time. So take your pick.
No. Dead Space 3 is more important.
So
No. Dead Space 3 compared to 1 and 2 is...
Dead Space 3 is a good game. I'm not going to hear this from you, Nick. I'm not. I will shut that crap down right now.
Right in the recycling bin.
But yeah, I mean, you get my point. The point is, like, no pressure, guys. There's a lot riding on this, but at the same time,
right.
I think Respawn's got this.
Yeah, I'm confident in them very much.
Yeah, I think they want to put their stamp on it and be like the ones who finally delivered that game, because EA, I mean, look how many they canceled. Look how many just died. So they're like, no, we don't want to be we don't want to be the whipping post here.
The best single-player Star Wars game since Jedi Outcast.
I'm gonna throw this out there, and this is my real belief that Respawn's motivation behind this game is that Titanfall 2 is probably one of the best FPS campaigns of the past decade. One of. Mm-hmm. Keywords here. One of.
Good.
But nobody played it.
Well,
and people can fight me to death, but if you didn't buy that game for $60, you did not play it. I do not care if you bought it for $2.50 3 years later and played it. You do not count because you did not believe in the dream. And I will gatekeep the shit out of that. That was a terrible thing to say by no regrets. No regrets. But the thing is that Respawn knows it's a Star Wars game. Like, even Battlefront 2, like, before it launched, everyone knew it was going to be a disaster. That thing still sold like hotcakes. So they know that people are going to buy this just because it's Star Wars.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they're putting everything they can into it because they have a captive audience for the first time. And I hate saying it like that, but everyone remember, Titanfall launched with that campaign. And then Titanfall 2 came out with an amazing campaign, and no one cared. And then they made Apex Legends, and once again, people flocked to Apex Legends. And, like, Respawn has been known for their multiplayer, but if they can knock this out of the park, they're probably one of the most deadly developers in terms of multiplayer and single-player talent.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm living for it. Because those were the guys that made Infinity Ward good. And it just makes me warm and fuzzy inside when Respawn does well.
I hear you, man.
Talented dev, man.
I'm hoping that this is a knock it out of the park, type deal. It really is. And I think it will. I think it will.
I agree.
I know I'll be playing.
I'm figuring out how I'm going to afford all these games that I want.
And hey, think about it, man. I mean, we could be on the precipice of something really cool. Like if that game delivers what we want as Star Wars fans, and then JJ can finally bring it back around and truly deliver a film experience in this new series that everyone's definitively like, yep, that was it. Because we haven't had that yet.
Haven't had one that everybody agrees on.
Right.
Like that.
It's been polarizing all around.
And guys, we got The Mandalorian coming around at the same time.
And that looks fantastic.
Ooh, it looks so good.
And Disney Plus is looking to come through.
Two things.
Dude, all the old
this is our block
stuff,
now.
like the 90s Spider-Man. Like,
Yeah.
dude, come on. Like, they got everything on there.
They're looking at Hulu and they own, they're part of Hulu, but anyway, they're looking at like Netflix and everything else. Like, this is our block. You go over there.
Listen, two things. Fuck Disney Plus because it's not launching in Canada till some undefined date in 2020.
To be determined, eh?
Oh, hey. I'm so sick and tired of being treated like a third world friggin' country to tech companies.
You're not
Microsoft's like,
third world, you're tier 2.
Here's Nick right now. I'm a grown ass man. I want my Disney Plus.
I'm a grown ass man. I want my Disney Plus, and it's bullshit that Xbox is launching xCloud. You can get it in goddamn Mexico, but I can't get it in Canada. It's bullshit.
Wow. Good point. Honestly, that is good.
Well, that's xCloud testing, man. That's testing.
Still. I know that when they launch it, they're gonna be like, Canada will get there when it gets there.
Boy, I'm coming down there right now. You better smarten up.
Listen, and also in terms of JJ bringing the series around, there ain't been a good Star Wars movie since 1983. So let's move on.
Hey, Nick.
Spicy.
I mean,
I'm ducking.
I've kind of put that argument out there too. I'm like, you guys, people want to dunk on Abrams for Force Awakens, and you want to dunk on what's his face? Can't even mention his name.
Rian Johnson.
Yeah, you dunk on him, but I was like, old man Lucas kind of did his damage too.
It's not. We ain't gonna do this tonight, but I'll say this. It's not that you have invalid complaints per se. It's that you picked a very mighty interesting time to finally start complaining. That's what it is.
20 years later.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like
it's like we didn't just arrive here, guys. You know.
Yeah, I like how everyone like just pretends like the prequels were fine now. I'm like, I remember back in the day, everyone was like, "What is this shit?" I remember.
No, to me, it was the other way around.
Really?
Dude, the other way, people were like fiending and like in like love with the prequel stuff. Yeah. And I think as time has gone on, it was like, yeah, it wasn't as good. I mean, people hated Jar Jar from day one.
No, listen. My favorite
big hater.
My mom is like a huge Star Wars fan. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars is basically the only two movies she cares about. Mm-hmm. And I remember as a kid, the only time I ever heard my mom swear was the commercial where you see Jar Jar Binks, and my mom turned, looked at my dad. I'm just sitting in between them, and my mom's like, "What the fuck is that?"
Dude, I think if you allow me for a second, I think what you had there was, for fans, it was starvation of not from Return of the Jedi to when the prequels launched, right? Because you remember they relaunched the toy line, that blew up. That kind of introduced all that stuff to a whole new generation, right? And then the one thing Star Wars has always done, even with the new stuff, they can cut a trailer that will get you as hype as, I don't know. You just be like
it has nostalgia power that nothing else has. It doesn't matter what it is. Those trailers get you giddy.
Absolutely, right, Sam? So I remember the hype, dude. I remember standing in line for hours just to buy the ticket with my friends for the Clone Wars. Not the Clone Wars, but episode 1.
Phantom Menace, yeah.
Phantom Menace, that's the one. I'm all over the place. So, and then again, this is before, you could do reserved seats at theaters. So getting to the theater hours early so we can make sure to have the great seats and everything. And like Sam said, I think a lot of it was you were starved. So you got this big bowl of Star Wars soup, and it was the best soup you ever had. And then I remember when the glass kind of shattered. Over the years, I would watch them. I go, okay, and then every time I would watch them, I'm kind of like, And then when we got Force Awakens, and then we got
The Last Jedi.
I
keep saying these names you can't say.
Yeah. So I'm like, I've been up since 5 a.m. So guys, just work with me. Yeah, and then watching those, and I remember the moment the glass shattered, Roz and I were getting prepared, for these new movies. We sat to watch the prequels, and we started, with the Phantom Menace, and we're watching, and we're like, we got through it, and it's like, okay, we got through that one. When we got to the Clone Wars, or episode 2,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we're like, I looked at her, she looked at me, I'm like, I can't watch this shit. I can't watch it anymore.
I remember when we were going through those, Eric, and it's like, people say Phantom Menace is the worst. It's like, no, you're misremembering how much Jar Jar is there. Attack of the Clones is actually the most painful to get.
That's in the Clone Wars. Attack of the Clones, right? And Roz, bless her soul, like she's dedicated, man. Like she's like, babe, I'll rock with you on most things. And she's just sitting there, she's looking, and I look at her and I'm like, are you hating this as much as I'm hating it? And she goes, I just don't want to say anything.
When Anakin's like, if you are suffering as I am, please tell me. It's like, yes,
exactly. We are, Anakin. We are.
We are.
So we bailed on that, and we went right to Revenge of the Sith. That's actually, Revenge of the Sith is actually watchable. You can actually work with that one, right? But
Ian McDiarmid gets to just have a blast in that one, and that really helps. It also helps, I think, that in episode 3, it's like, despite the lines they were given, the actors had sort of figured out how to stretch their potential, if that makes sense. Like, bless his soul, like Samuel L. Jackson, Hayden Christensen, obviously, good grief, I'm tired. Why can't I remember it? This is embarrassing.
You know what it is? Because all these new characters all mixing up right now.
Exactly.
Right.
Plus, I'm like 6 glasses of wine in, so it's like it's been a long day for me too. But it's like, like they did a good job with what they had. They maximized the potential of what they had. Like that conversation between Anakin and Padme when he finds out she's pregnant. It's like, you know what? That's a very realistic reaction. Good on you, Lucas. That was actually edited really well. But anyways, this has been a sub-episode of the movie perspective, the Star Wars perspective.
Notice we've done this before. Every time I get in here, we're like, yo, we need to just do like a Star Wars cast one day and just talk.
Mm-hmm. We need to get it out of the system.
Yeah, we do. But
because people really don't. People really don't want to hear my take on how Force Awakens is a New Hope, except it's the diversity cast.
No, you're not the only person that said that. Remember my friend Ron? My friend Ron, whose son was on.
Yep.
Yeah, my friend Ron said the same thing. So that's absolutely.
I'm so mad because I watched Force Awakens. My friend begged me for 6 months to watch it, so I went, fine, I'll watch it. I watched it and went, might as well just watch The New Hope. At least I will have enjoyed the actors. I watched that standalone one. Which one's that? The one that was in between The Last Jedi.
Rogue One is good. Rogue One and Solo are actually good to me.
Hell yeah,
I don't know. I don't get the complaints about Solo.
I really don't either.
It's a space western. It's basically Firefly meets Star Wars. I mean,
you can if you want to throw a dart at the guy who plays Solo and hit him in the shoulder, go ahead. Whatever. Okay.
As if those aren't the biggest Star Wars in existence to step into.
Right. And even with that, I was like, the dude kind of tried to nail the mannerisms. I mean, he has the mannerisms of Harrison Ford.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know what people were thinking. But I'm like, again, you don't like this, but you were okay with all the prequel stuff?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And tell me that God, why is his name escaping me? This is the Forget People's Names podcast. Tell me Donald Glover was not the best Lando ever.
Oh, he nailed it.
Oh, yeah. Like Donald Glover, he has that. Sleaze is not the right word because there's a class to it, like that smooth suaviness, that you imagine a younger Lando has, where it's like, this guy will talk the pants off anyone if you give him the chance.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed Solo, and I didn't watch it.
The Solo were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
To wrap up this topic, I didn't watch The Last Jedi for the simple reason I didn't watch The Last Jedi is because someone clipped the goddamn milk scene and put it on Twitter, and I was like, nope, I'm out of here.
That wasn't even the most egregious scene in that whole
Oh God, don't! I'm definitely never watching it now. Thanks for that. Good on that.
We're gonna
So
add that as a Patreon tier. Make Nick watch The Last Jedi.
Yeah, right.
what are you
I'll
talking
donate.
about?
I'll make it happen.
Once Gears 5 wraps up, I actually have to fulfill the Patreon request for Detroit Become Human. So
Godspeed, Nick.
there is no God, Eric. There is no God.
Borderlands 3 coming up behind that one.
Yeah, buddy.
If you know what, if I have to make a Patreon tier that's $100 and it's just make Nick play games that he hates, I'll be dead by January because there's so many people I know that be like, I'd pay $100 to watch him suffer.
Yeah.
I swear to God, my biggest hope is Ivan never wins the lottery because I'll never stop playing bad games at that rate. So we're going to move right along to something that's even more confusing than the Star Wars timeline, Death Stranding. So during Sony's State of Play, we got a look at the limited edition Death Stranding PlayStation 4 Pro, which a bonus point to Sam. He said that he thought that in a previous episode that they would do a PlayStation 4 Pro for Death Stranding. I said the game was too weird and not marketable enough to make a Pro for, but apparently I'm wrong. So
Hashtag Sam is right.
oh God.
Oh yeah, I would have gone with Sam all day on that one. They'll make they make a pro on that one for real.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they will.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, this isn't the worst Pro that Sony's ever put out.
I actually think the Pro design itself looks good, like the white with the offset black hands and the continents and the hands. The Pro itself actually looks really good. If the PS5 wasn't coming out next year, a year directly after this thing comes out, then I would probably get it. Truth be told, if this was like back in 2018 or 2017, I would probably get it. But we're just too close to the PS5. I can't justify it considering how much I use my PlayStation. The controller, on the other hand, looks like piss.
Yes.
Now I have an argument about this.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
I have an argument about this.
Okay.
Right.
I said it only looks like piss because he put piss in the in the trailer. I think most people would be like, oh, it's just like a translucent, gold color. But then I said too, I said this to Mooch. I said, if your piss is that yellow, you need to drink more water. Get off the Mountain Dew.
I saw you say that.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Eric, but keep in mind, I have several years of being a senior patrol leader in Boy Scouts, so I'm mentally scarred forever, all right?
Fair enough, man. But as far as I'm personally, if I'm going to spend money on another DualShock 4, I'm going to get the purple Prince one.
That purple is sweet.
Yeah, that purple's sweet. But I don't necessarily have a problem with I get what they were doing. I probably would have gone a different direction.
It's just an off-putting color, man.
No.
But I don't hate it though. But yeah.
Did anyone read the actual PlayStation blog announcement for this though?
I did not.
Okay, so inspired by the game, this new limited edition PS4 Pro features a white matte finish, glossy white. Wow, they have terrible editing on the PlayStation blog. Shout out to Colin Moriarty for always pointing that out. But it literally says PS4 Pro features a white matte, glossy white finish on the top of the console with two BT handprints in matte black that form the shapes of the world continent. Great design. Sure to bring an otherworldly feel to your home entertainment setup. The bundle includes an orange, I would not call that orange, an orange translucent DualShock 4 wireless controller that is the same color as the game's BB pod. Throughout the game, you can gently rock the controller to emulate holding the BB pod in your own hand.
No! I will not do that.
What?
They are
going
home with this. They are going home with this BB pod thing. Maybe it's one of those things where the picture isn't the same. Like how the Switch Lite gray was. People thought it was like a lighter gray when they actually got it. It was like a darker gray. Maybe that kind of thing.
Maybe
it is more orange when you see it. I don't know.
It's just the lighting, guys. Come on.
I think they missed the opportunity to put the baby in it, like that meme showed.
No. Actually, if they're going to commit to it, they actually should have put the baby in there.
Yeah, that would have been nice, actually.
If you're going to do that, you commit.
Funny, actually.
Yeah.
If you're going to make me rock back and forth with a piss-colored controller, you better put a damn baby in it.
Exactly.
Nicholas Downey, 2019. Put that on the election.
But again, I will give them credit. The console itself looks cool. The console itself, I would argue, is their best custom console.
That concept is kind of like something I thought when wanted like a Sunset Overdrive like console for Xbox. Like it would have had like the paint splatters all over it and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead, you just got a plain white Xbox. Yeah, I remember that too, Eric.
Now I saw someone say, like if you really want like a Death Stranding console, like send it to me and I'll have my 4-year-old put their handprints all over it. Hey, I still think they need to go with my idea from a couple of years ago. As what they're doing with these PlayStations and the stickers. Just do it Happy Meal style. Like you get the box, you get the console, and there's a bunch of stickers in there. You put them all over however you want. Go for it. Right?
You know what? Sure. Why not? I mean, why not?
Find me someone who didn't have a friend that had a black Elite 360 with a bunch of obnoxious stickers on it. We all knew at least one guy, and I was that guy.
It's space plates, man. Those space plates were cool.
Oh man. Oh, I do not need to reminisce about the Xbox 360 generation. But back to Death Stranding PS4 Pro. It retails for $399 US, $4.99 Canadian because fuck Canada. And
Hey Nick, you and Jared need to become bootleggers, man. Like bootleg games and consoles.
Oh. Eric, instead of like gun runners, they're like tech runners.
Yep.
Listen, when everyone was on Twitter talking about like I'd pay $1,000 for a PS5, I'm like, fuck you, that'll be $1,500 Canadian.
That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, man.
You will not get me to pay 4 digits. You will not.
Ever. That's the day Eric, Sam, that is the day Eric is done with gaming for a while and Eric is playing on old consoles.
Exactly. It's like there's not much that could get me out of it. That would do it.
But did you play that new game? No, because I'm not paying $1,000 for a console.
I will upgrade my PC because each individual upgrade will be 3 digits instead of 4 if I have to do it that way.
Yeah. I was like, I remember that tweet, Nick, and I'm like, man, this person toes the party line.
It's like, oh man, I couldn't do that. No way. I'm like, selling everything, just doing PC. Sorry, can't do it.
So, Death Stranding news, a couple days after the PlayStation Pro was revealed, Hideo Kojima took to Twitter to thank himself. And I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. That was apparently a mistranslation. He actually meant to thank himself one more time.
No. You can't do that.
Messy. You're messy.
I actually didn't say that. It was mistranslated.
All right.
We're moving on. Kojima Productions announced on Twitter that Death Stranding is complete and has gone gold. And they made a big deal about congratulating the whole team, thanking Sony for the assistance, and of course, Guerrilla Games, which I'm guessing had a huge role in this game from the way things are sounding. It's gone gold. They've got a month until release. How are you guys feeling on this game? Are you lukewarm? Are you warm? Are you hot for it? Are you still confused about it? Where are you guys at with this?
I've got no bloody idea. I've got it pre-ordered. Yeah. I just want to get it in my hands.
I'm there. Curious.
I'm still there.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
I want to play it because I want to know what it is.
Yeah. To be clear, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's like at this point, just give the game to me and let me form my own opinions and let me experience it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm one of these people that like. There's some days I wake up and I'm like, man, I really want to play Death Stranding. And then there's days I get out of bed, I'm like, man, fuck Death Stranding.
I look forward to your review of Death Stranding.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I mean, I'm kind of like Sam. I just want the game at this point. I didn't watch like the 50 minutes of footage or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I don't do that for any game. I'm sorry. I'm gonna play. Like, but anytime I see these announcements for we're showing the first 6 hours, I'm like, why? You know. So whatever it's gonna be, it's gonna be. I'm a Kojima fan. I want to see how crazy he's gonna get with this thing. it's gonna, like we said, he's either gonna be the GOAT or the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And me
So-
not being a Kojima fan is somehow intrigued and wants to play the game. So he's doing something right somehow, even though it's extremely weird and almost off-putting in certain manners. But
Mhm.
I'm there.
Look, the
oddly
thing is even if this turns out to be a train wreck, with the amount of like voice talent that he's got, this is gonna be the most best performed train wreck in history.
or the most expensive one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how broke did this development have to go to get Monster Energy drink and like your clothes sponsored? I'm like, we gotta recoup those development costs. Let's go. This robot in the lobby of the studio ain't gonna pay for itself.
They probably paid out the nose from Mads Mikkelsen in the first place.
I don't even want to like. I've made jokes about it, and like everyone remembers the Reset Era rumor that they'd spent 125 million on this game before it was even in early builds, just on Kojima-isms.
Yeah.
We don't know for fact if that's true. Like, I don't think we'll ever find out how much money went into Death Stranding unless it becomes a huge success and they feel like they can brag about the budget they did it on. But the thing is like, there's not been a game this magnetizing in a long time. And like, it's interesting to watch people hate it, and it's interesting to watch people love it. Because there's people that love it that clearly don't understand it, and there's people that hate it that clearly don't understand it. They're just like, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place when it comes to that too, because I know it's just one of those things. It's like you either kind of dig Kojima or you kind of don't, but then at the same time, I think there are people who still have like this weird thing about a few years ago, like, you know, when he was leaving Konami, where he was going, and it was like, you know, he was like in the middle of the console war with that thing, and then people kind of have this weird thing still about Jeff Keighley, so they kind of tie them together, and they hate both of them. It was just like this whole
my
weird
biggest,
mishmash.
the thing that I had to remove myself from was, and what it helped me actually get interested in Death Stranding. It seems like a stupid mental mind block, but anytime I saw Death Stranding footage up until recently, I just kept sitting there going, man, we're getting this instead of a Silent Hill game written by Del Toro. This is what we're getting.
Oh, now you made me sad.
And see, and that's what, like, I was so down on Death Stranding because it was just so convoluted in the early trailers, and it just felt like he was just throwing some things together. I'm like I physically played PT. That was a one-of-a-kind experience. Like, the fact that we could have had a 20-hour game of that demo.
I still think, honestly, in some weird way, I still think you're going to get a horror game from those guys.
I hope so.
See, we'll have to dive into that on a different topic. Do not have time.
I mean, obviously it won't be PT and it won't be, you know,
but
Silent Hill,
I still don't think. I think with the success of Resident Evil 2 remake and Konami dipping their toe in, I think there's a chance we could see a Silent Hill remake.
I would love that.
But
I love that.
I'm
it
not
won't be.
sure.
It won't be Kojima and Del Toro's.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's another, you know.
There's that, and there's also the fact of like, I'm not sure if that's what we'll get, but I'll say this: I do think we're going to get more horror games next gen than we did this gen, because I think it's like we didn't really get that many this gen. We had Alien Isolation. Bless the hearts of Creative Assembly. They did a good job on that. And then, but it was really Resident Evil 2 Remake and Resident Evil 7 and Evil Within 2 all coming out within, you know, a few months, maybe a year of each other. That, like, okay, that proves there's a market for this.
actually, I will
there's a market
argue,
for these games.
I will argue till I'm blue in the face that Outlast was the proprietor of horror actually having a voice in the Xbox One PS4 generation, because everyone forgets Outlast came out at the beginning of this generation.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
And the reason I want to give credit to it is that game sold a ton of copies and absolutely dominated in terms of the fact that there was basically no horror games in 2013, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you think about, like, Alien Isolation came out in, what, 2015?
Yes, 2000.
Yeah.
No, that was 2014. That was
2014. So Alien Isolation came out in 2014. We had Evil Within, which was a cross-gen game, so that's 2013. But that's third person, not first person.
Mhm.
And what am I thinking of here? Resident Evil 7 was 2017.
Yep.
2017. So, and I still to this day sit there and go, Resident Evil 7 went first person because Outlast worked so well. I still believe that to this day. But
You
I
can
could be
definitely
wrong.
see a bit of DNA in there. Not like an overriding amount because you still have guns and all that, but there's the DNA is there.
The DNA
Oh,
is there,
sure.
and like to say Outlast definitely didn't influence things. You look at games like Blair Witch, and people were like, "Is this the new Outlast game?" It's like facepalm. I think I definitely agree. I think we're
Yeah, and
gonna
then things like Layers of Fear too.
yeah, Layers of Fear. That's another really good screwed up one that made me lose sleep. I haven't played 2. 1 scared the bejesus out of me, and I'm like, I think I'm good
Yeah.
on 2.
Yeah, I haven't played 2 yet either, but yeah, the
2
first one got me. Yeah.
I'll save this. We'll save this for another time. But you guys hit me up. 2 is not as good as 1, in my opinion.
I kind of got that impression, Sam, because I don't hear many people talking about the
2
second one as they did the first one.
Here's what I'll say, Eric and Nick. 2 is the definition of squandered opportunity. The first 30 minutes of that game are phenomenal, and then it takes a nosedive off a cliff afterwards.
What?
I love the first 30 minutes. I love the first 30 minutes of that game. Fantastic opening, and then it just goes downhill, downhill, downhill.
You know, it's a game that's not, I wouldn't necessarily consider it horror, but it is like it's almost like out of the mind of Del Toro, and that's Little Nightmares.
I still haven't played that one. Actually,
it's great. It's not
game.
long. Oh
no,
man,
it's not at all.
It's creepy. It's so creepy and unsettling. Extremely unsettling too. You just kind of like this is, and no, I think it really also.
It literally is the nightmare.
It is, but it also displays a lot of the human greed side, like the nastiness of human beings in general. And you just go, oh, this is disgusting.
Did you guys see Spirited Away?
Yep.
This game definitely has the influence of that movie. Like some of the scenes they give you. Did you play Little Nightmares, Nick?
I haven't. I've not played it yet.
If you play it, you'll see what I'm saying. Like some of the, like what Jared is talking about, some of the scenes where the characters like gorging themselves on food and pigging out.
Yeah.
Like that's the first thing that kind of like hit me. I was like, oh, that reminds me of this. So, but yeah, that game's intense.
Yeah, and it's not long. It's like what, 3-4 hours?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. And there's DLC for it too.
And there's Little Nightmares 2 comes out next year.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll be there for that.
Hell yeah.
So.
All right, so we'll all be playing Death Stranding at launch, and we'll see. We'll see.
I am looking forward to that conversation. I have no idea what it'll be, but I am looking forward.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games where I'm going in, I'm like, what am I getting myself into? But it's important to note, and I want to send my love to Kojima Productions or whoever controls pricing. The Steelbook edition for Death Stranding is only $10 more expensive than the standard edition in Canada, so God bless you. Yeah, I only had to pay $103 for the Steelbook edition instead of the standard
120.
Yeah, my usual like $40 more for the Steelbook edition. So God bless them for that. I think that's all the big video game. There's nothing else happened this week, right, guys? There's no big announcements or
nothing too crazy.
No. There wasn't anything that plunged social media into a spin. Oh yeah, I guess that game with the girl and the The Last of Us 2 Part 2. Let's face it. We all saw it. What is everyone's thoughts? I'm gonna go last because reasons.
Jared, you're the most recent to have seen it, so you go first.
Oh man, okay. Talk about stepping up and capitalizing on wanting to provide a wonderful and extreme single player experience to fans that have been waiting for such a long time for this sequel. From what I saw in the trailer, it's really looks to be doubling down on just the brutality of human nature and just how gritty and just brutal that world can be. Graphically, holy crap, it looks great. I'm really curious to see how well it's going to run on the PS4 Pro, how consistent it might be in frame rates and stuff like that, because it looks very, very demanding. I just, man, I can't wait for this game. I'm a big fan of The Last of Us. It's a great story. I played it very, very late, probably, I think in 2015 was the first time I ever played it on the remastered version on the PS4, and holy crap, I was just blown away. I can't believe I waited that long to play it. So I'm really looking forward to this one, very much so.
Yeah, I'll jump in there now. I'm there. This is what I don't need to see anymore. This is what I wanted to see. Happy we finally got the release date, and yeah, that trailer hit me in the feels. It definitely evoked that same emotion that you get when you start talking about like the original, like the Last of Us and everything, like and those feelings that you had around playing it the first time. So for a trailer to kind of get that same kind of feel and that same kind of hype level, yeah, that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm number 3 in there. The Last of Us, much like Jared, I first played it in 2015 when I first bought a PS4, and I bought the remaster, and it was the second PlayStation game I ever played. Well, that I owned. The first one was The Order 1886, a good game, as Eric knows.
For me,
okay, what anybody says.
Yeah, exactly. Not incredible, but it's a good game. And I fell in love with it. I immediately fell in love with it. I've played it 3 times since, I believe. So I think I've played it. I've either played it 3 or 4 times through completion. I'm not sure. I absolutely love it. Not many games get me emotional simply from hearing like the soundtrack. But man, you play that main theme, the guitar plucking, like my eyes start watering up. Like almost immediately. Like it is one of those games that it just has that strong emotional connection. It's what got my mom into single player gaming.
That's
actually. Awesome. Like she played stuff before then, don't get me wrong, but like that is what got her to be like, okay, wow. Yeah, this is a fantastic medium. This is not just a medium for shooty bang, smash, kill, this is like
right. You
can tell deep stories, you can tell intimate human emotions, and that's what Druckmann does. He tells human stories. The plot isn't complicated. It's not. It's a very on paper tropish, brain dead, average zombie plot, but it's the manner in which the characters are brought out, and that's what makes it so incredible. And then, so I say that to say my mom actually watched the reveal trailer with me, and we watched that trailer during State of Play, and just wow. Like the expanded combat options look phenomenal. Like the fact that Ellie can jump, she can go prone. Good God, it looks gorgeous. Like good grief, it looks visually impressive. And then just the way you can upgrade your weapons now even further. They've added attack dogs. There's a new type of clicker, a new type of infected, and they've hinted that there's even more than that. I'm thinking maybe there'll be infected animals. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know that for sure. And then just, man, at the end when it showed Joel, and we both gasped. We both went, because it's like, because we hadn't seen his face. Right. We hadn't seen his face in 6 years. 6 years, right? Since The Last of Us release. It's like even in the 2016 announcement trailer, you don't see the front of Joel's face. You just see the back of his head, and you hear his voice. So it's like, yeah, I got emotional, and I can't wait. I cannot wait. Man, we got Ori on February 11th, and then we've got Last of Us Part 2 on February 21st. February is just going to obliterate us emotionally. It's just you are going to feel
first
we're going
3 months.
to destroy your tear ducts.
Oh, man.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait.
So am I the only one here that played it on PS3 when it first launched?
I believe so.
Okay.
No, actually, you're not, because I actually played. I didn't play it at launch. I played it on PS3 in 2015.
Okay.
So, aha.
Technically.
Yeah. But I'm just looking for more of that emotion, man, because I will just never forget that the opening of that game and getting through that, that first scene and just sitting the controller down and being like, what am I about to play?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And even the ending of that game where it's like, it doesn't go further than it needs to.
Right.
I love that. But it's just like, no, we're going to bring you to this particular emotional state of these two characters. And spoiler alert for a game that came out in 2013 and sold 20 million copies, where Joel lies to her and tells her, no, the Fireflies, they found other kids like you. And then it's like, actually, yeah, he actually butchered his way through them.
Right.
And you can't tell whether Ellie knows he's telling the truth or not.
Yep.
But she chooses to accept it. It's like, that is a perfect moment. And it's still being debated to this day. Did Joel become the real villain of that game? I don't have the answer. I still don't know.
No.
Well, we're about to find out.
And yeah, I saw Shinobi start his another playthrough. And I was like, damn, I need to start mine too.
I had the same inkling. I was like,
yeah, I know. I had the same one.
Got it digitally. I might play it again. And it's just that good.
Nope, absolutely, man.
All right, so now that the audience has been tucked into bed, swaddled, and loved with positive opinions about The Last of Us.
All right, comes the hate spewing. Trash this thing is.
Uncle Nick's gonna kick in the door and yell, "Daddy's home." So let's talk. Okay.
Oh boy.
So when The Last of Us Part 2 was shown off at E3 2018, my first DM to Sam is, why the hell did this game need a sequel? I was not sold that this game needed a sequel. They perfectly bookended that story to me. But with this most recent trailer, not gonna lie, I was at half-mast through most of it because I was like, this looks great. This looks insane. I'm sold on Ellie being this like revenge-riddled, angry murder spree. Like I'm living for it. I still don't understand the obsession with the first one. I'll never understand it. To me, The Last of Us is a good game. It's not amazing. It's not groundbreaking. It's just a good game. Now, to bookend that before someone clips that and puts that on Twitter and I get lambasted for it, is I prefer, if people have been watching this podcast for a while or have followed me of my social media, I have a very strange taste for games, so to speak. And my appreciation for The Last of Us actually isn't the story. It's actually the survival aspects of the game and the crafting. I thought those were incredibly well done. And I loved the stealth mechanics. It still has some of the best third-person stealth mechanics in a game. Hands down. I love that aspect of the game. I'm interested to see how the stealth mechanics and the AI adapt. One of the coolest things that came out about this, if you read some of the interviews with some of the developers, is that all the spawned NPCs have names. So if you kill a guy, kill an enemy, and there's an enemy nearby, that person will have an emotional reaction because the AI is actually programmed to know that person's Sean. And if you die and respawn and you kill that guy again, that's still Sean.
Yeah, exactly. Every single enemy has a unique name, and the different NPCs' reactions and how well they knew each other, that determines how they're going to attack you. Because if it's like, if you killed their loved one, they're just going to come at you blindly. But if it's someone they didn't really know that well, it's just like, oh snap, they got Ethan, spread out. And that's insane. That's absolutely insane to me.
Right.
And then good grief, the tracking dogs that they're throwing in as well. Like, ooh.
And see, the thing is anyone who knows me, I'm a huge appreciation, and what usually draws me into games is gameplay. It's why I'm such a huge ID Software fanboy. Is because the gameplay mechanics are flawless. And if you're a huge gameplay nut like me, there's no denying The Last of Us Part 2 looks like it'll be right up our alley. It's some of the smoothest gameplay we've seen. Now, keeping in mind, we've only seen short contained trailers and very brief snippets so far. We haven't seen a prolonged gameplay of how everything's going to work and everything else. But from what we've seen so far, this is like what Red Dead Redemption 2 was for open world games, basically, in terms of scale and detail and everything else. I'm really interested to see what the scale of the world's gonna be. And shout out to Neil Druckmann being like, this is the biggest world we've ever created. Me sitting there panicking, going, oh my God, is The Last of Us Part 2 gonna be a 100-hour game? I immediately started hyperventilating with anxiety about facing, like, after Days Gone, I just don't trust developers anymore. It's a 20-hour game. 50 hours into it. Where's the end? Oh, it's after the file save corrupt and you have to start over. Right. No, I'm really excited for Last of Us Part 2. I will be uninstalling Twitter off of my phone in February for the whole month, probably into March as well, because god damn is the freaking social media hubbub about this game going to be annoying.
Oh yeah, up until Cyberpunk at least. Then
no,
after give it a week or two afterwards, and then it's gonna like fire back up between the two.
No, it's gonna be the same. What's gonna happen is it's gonna be the same stupid crap we went through with Days Gone, where people are like, Red Dead Redemption 2, Days Gone's a better open world game, and I'm like, oh my god, shut up.
No, not even true. No,
it's like I want to do a video or maybe a podcast on why the hell Twitter has such a hard-on that you must hate Red Dead Redemption 2. I do not understand. Like, I haven't finished the game, but I didn't hate it. I just don't have the time for it.
It's one of the few games that actually made me cry. Like, it's that freaking amazing of a game. Can't hate it. There's just no way.
People are like, it's boring. I'm like, okay. They're like, it's too long. That's a fair criticism. It's too long. I understand that. Long. But at the same time, if you have time to do 3 playthroughs of Persona 5, you have time to play Red Dead Redemption 2 once.
Or even play The Witcher 3 from start to finish.
Okay, I'm starting to feel attacked.
That's a long one, too.
I'm starting to feel attacked because these are all long games that I don't have time for. But on October 15th, I'm somehow going to find a way to put a full playthrough for the 16th time into Baldur's Gate 2. And I hate myself for it. But no, it's going to be interesting, and I'm really not looking forward to the social media discourse around Cyberpunk and The Last of Us, because people are going to be doing the same thing they're doing with freaking Gears 5 right now. We're going to take a low-quality picture off of Facebook and upload it, and we're going to find a 4K flawless HD picture put beside and be like, look at these games.
Stop it. Okay, yeah, I got something to say about that. Stop it. Both sides are doing it, and it's the most obnoxious thing in the world.
Oh my god.
You know it's stupid. Stop.
If I have to see that poor woman's face from the State of Decay 2 pre-alpha footage again, in comparison to a God of War screenshot directly ripped, uncompressed, I will lose my mind. Same way I lose my mind when people are like, look at Nathan Drake's character model. I'm like, okay, I've played Uncharted 4. Game's beautiful. Stop. Just, I don't
know how people don't get tired.
I don't know how people can't just enjoy something for what it is and just move on from it. Like if The Last of Us Part 2 comes out and I don't like it, I'll just play another game. It's like this mind-blowing thing. It's like, it's the same thing. Like when people ask me, they're like, how have you played Xbox through Xbox One generation? It was so disappointing. I'm like, I don't know. I just bought games and played them. It's a weird concept, but like, I don't know. It's just, after like 4 or 5 years on social media, I'm completely jaded to the stuff that's been going on since 2014. It's the same thing as, oh, this is 720 versus 1080p. Now this is 4K and this isn't real 4K. And I'm like, I don't care. Game looks amazing.
You guys, It's like you've been having the same conversation for like 6 years. You know?
Like that long already?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Can you believe this generation has been going on for 6 years?
Right.
Crazy.
But I didn't have gray hairs before 2013. Now I do. Because of people's bullshit. Speaking of social media bullshit, that was kind of hilarious to watch unravel, and I say hilarious in Schadenfreude way, and I totally butchered a German word there. And I take obscene amounts of pleasure in watching other people's suffering. So, The Last of Us Part 2, after reportedly having multiplayer, then there was a rumor it didn't have multiplayer, and then it was debunked. And that it was stated that, yes, indeed, the game did have multiplayer on Outbreak Day, which, for people that don't know, is a celebratory day for The Last of Us. I don't know, I wouldn't call it celebratory day. It's turned into that, basically. It's a huge day. Fans replay the game, share screenshots, you get some PS4 themes. It's just a really great all-around like fan love for The Last of Us. Not many games get that amount of fan admiration. But apparently Naughty Dog thought this was the perfect time to be like, no Last of Us 2 multiplayer. And of course, it was phrased in such a way where they're like, we're working on it, but it's not ready yet. So news media ran with it and was like, Last of Us Part 2 doesn't have multiplayer. And my God, did my Twitter feed ever go into just absolute dismay. And it sucks too. Like, there's two sides to a coin. Is like, I understand, quote unquote, tacked on multiplayers can be detrimental to single player games. We've talked about it before on this show about how, balancing resources and how challenging that can be for some developers. And of course, with how ambitious The Last of Us Part 2 is, you got to think with all those character animations and everything else going on with that game, they have to somehow translate that to a multiplayer setting. So the amount of challenge that would go behind that would be astronomically insane. But I have quite a few hardcore Last of Us multiplayer fans in my Twitter, and they were not happy campers. Did any of you guys play The Last of Us multiplayer? Are you guys fans of it?
No.
Did you enjoy it? Or
I played two matches.
I never played.
I played all of 2 matches, so I don't have the love for it that others do. No.
Yeah.
I think I played like a match, and conversely, I wasn't really into but I didn't really play Uncharted on multiplayer. I kind of got out of those games what I wanted out of them, the campaigns.
Yeah. See, and
but I mean, I know the same people you're talking about, and I know other people like they swear by the multiplayer.
yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And I think part of the thing too is why this hits so hard is this is one of the few Sony first party games that has multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people, I'm not going to say celebrate because it's Sony first party, but it'd be like if it's hard to phrase it in a way, but it'd be like if Halo and Gears didn't have multiplayer. It'd be like, what would I play with my friends in terms of Xbox stuff? But they have a lot of co-op games and stuff that balances it out. But you get the point I'm making. Is like Sony's library is very me orientated, which is fine. I love those games, but it's also good to have balance. And I think people are starting to realize this. We've seen a couple of articles come out with lately, and a couple of people on social media being like, why does Sony hate multiplayer games so much? Like, they have a great like the PS3 was pretty well balanced in terms of single player and multiplayer games. Like, Killzone's multiplayer was phenomenal. I will fist fight anyone over that. Like, I liked Killzone's multiplayer as much as I liked Halo's multiplayer back in the day. Like, I loved that. Like, I'd go over to my buddy's house and we played Killzone together. It was great. Loved the multiplayer in Killzone. SOCOM. It was one of the best tactical shooters ever. And because of PS3's network hack, we were probably not going to see one for a long time. And you've got The Last of Us Part 2, which multiplayer is now coming later. It's a standalone game. We don't really know what's going on. It's happening.
Didn't they have that game Warhawk also? Not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Warhawk, and then they
Warhawk
had another one called Starhawk. Who was that made by? I'm trying to remember.
I can remember, man.
One sec.
I will find it.
Because I think Warhawk was a free to play.
Yes, it
Wish
was.
I could help
It
you
was
guys,
made
but I
by,
was playing WoW all those years.
It was made by Lightbox Entertainment with support from Santa Monica.
Okay.
Stadia. Yeah, and the servers for those shut off, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That was a beloved PS3 game. I never played it personally, but tons of great things about it. Heard tons of great things about it. I don't know, and it's one of my critiques with Sony. And people can get mad at me about it all I want. Like, the main reason I buy Xbox Live Gold and not PS Plus is because I play all my third-party games on Xbox, and I play first-party Xbox games that require it. PlayStation Plus, there's pretty much no games I need the online access for. So I basically don't buy it because I don't play. I've been in 3 parties the whole time I've owned a PS4 in 3 years. And I think 2 of them were with Ivan and 1 was with a random that I joined up in a free-to-play game. Like, I'm not saying that people that play PS4s sit in their rooms by themselves and only enjoy solo experiences. Wow, that's what she said. But it's definitely the focus of the brand, and I think that's why this blew up as much as it did. Is that people were like, okay, well, we had a great multiplayer, and why are you getting rid of it? Do you guys think that plays into it, or do you think there was many fans of the multiplayer?
I don't think it was like crazy, but I definitely think it was like a small but dedicated community. Is the way I put it. It was like a small community, but it was a very dedicated, very passionate community, and it was something unique that they could say they had. It's like, hey, there's no other multiplayer like this. This is pretty cool. So I get being upset, or disappointed rather. Obviously harassment is never okay. Obviously, losing your mind and harassing developers is never an option for sane people anyways. But I understand being disappointed, especially because back at E3 2018, they said it was happening. So I can understand that. However, I do think Naughty Dog made the right call by explaining, hey, look, in their update that, look, it grew beyond this. We had to get all hands on deck for the single-player game. We have something coming in the future, and we'll discuss that then. Now, I think Naughty Dog should have taken their time when they had all the press there, and should have just made the statement then during the media event. But regardless, I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
I mean, media loved it because we got clicks on saying it was canceled and then saying it was back on again 5 hours later. So you can't beat that, right?
Yeah, and I think, like, to answer your question, Nick, I think, like, and what Sam was saying, there are people who genuinely like the multiplayer in the game, and it is a unique multiplayer, in some of the things that it does, and like Nick, like you said, we know people who personally they rock with it. So I can understand, like, them being upset. I do think there was some bandwagoning, as per usual, on Twitter, because there are people who don't play any games, but they play Rage,
Of course.
So, yeah. So I think that was going on. It seems to have died down a little bit more. I know there are people who are still kind of doing, like, the dunk thing, but, that is what it is. But they answered it. So you just have to sit back and see what they deliver.
Yeah, and I think Naughty Dog's biggest problem, and this even goes back to Uncharted 4, transparency has always been an issue for them. I know that's ironic coming from me because, God, I love Bethesda, and they're the least transparent of anyone. But the thing is like, they're very, like, it would take nothing, as Sam said during that media event, to be like, hey, guys, multiplayer's grown beyond what it is. So we're looking at other options. Someone was telling me, and I cannot tell you if this is fact or not because I did not have time to fact check it, but someone told me the multiplayer was actually added in later. It was actually not in the original Last of Us at launch.
That is untrue. I can tell you that's untrue.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't remember that being the case at all.
Because someone was saying that I saw a Twitter thread and it had like a bunch of like 1,000 likes on. They're like, they did this with the first one. It's fine. And I'm saying they're going, like, I didn't pay attention to like media stuff in 2013. So I was like, I don't know if that's true or not.
It's not true. They didn't announce it until the last minute. Like, they started announcing it and talking about it like a month before the game came out.
Okay.
They waited until the last minute, but no, it was in at day one.
Okay. And like, I don't have a problem with developers. Like, the thing is like, people that are mad, they're like, oh, they can't just add it in later. I'm like, really? Anyone remember Grand Theft Auto 5? Rockstar has literally been adding in multiplayer modes like a couple of months after.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, they were like, Red Dead Redemption 2's in beta. Buy your microtransaction currency now.
No shame.
And no shame, because people will do it. And like,
that's why I laugh at all the boycotts. Oh, I'm not buying it. That was the funny thing. People did keep it real with The Last of Us though, because they were like, you're not gonna play it? Oh no, I'm still buying it.
We're just gonna complain. Like, okay,
yeah, we're mad. I'm mad as hell.
Yeah, see, the thing is I never saw anyone, even all the super passionate multiplayer fans, I never once saw any of them being like, I'm going to boycott this. They were just mad.
Exactly, yeah.
No, the petition was moving around, but the petition said, do you vow not to buy, like, The Last of Us? And it was like,
wait, what?
No. I'll sign the petition, but I'm still buying it.
Yeah. You guys remember the whole Borderlands 3 boycott?
Oh, yeah.
And then it sold 5 million copies in its first week.
The faux cotton.
I always laugh, and I shouldn't, but I always laugh at like my PC gaming friends because they're like, man, fuck the Epic Game Store. They always have an excuse. Like when Metro sold more, had its highest success on PC, they're like, well, what were the numbers before? It can't be that good. I'm like, they always have an excuse. Like I quote tweeted on Nebellion tweeting about the 5 million copies sold and the best PC launch in 2K's history. And some idiot came into my mentions and was like, well, what other games does fucking 2K put on PC that PC gamers care about? I'm like, Borderlands 2, dipshit. Didn't get a reply. Did not get a reply. It's so funny to me because, like, I swear half these guys on PC, they're like, man, fuck the Epic Game Store. They secretly log into their Epic Game Store account and play these games. And just they adopt this mentality online because it's the same thing with anyone else. It's the same thing as the guys that talk crap about Xbox, talk crap about PlayStation. They're hiding offline playing games on the other console.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's all posturing and like I don't want people to feel like they can't. This is the biggest thing is like gamer outrage has hit a peak where it's literally people will get pissed off about any minute detail and go to war over it. And like we've seen developers bend the knee for good reason because of consumer outrage. But the thing is once you start to abuse it and then developers don't start seeing their bottom line changing, they're going to start ignoring it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And because it's like, well, you guys bitched all this and we still sold all these copies, so why would we care?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the last thing we want is a bunch of developers to stop listening to community, because we were hitting a really good point in 2018, even early into this year, where developers were like, hey, we want your feedback. And yeah, there's obviously going to be idiots on the forums trying to be like, hey, I'm funny and whatnot. But the thing is there's been a lot of games that have been turned around because of fan feedback. And like, there's been games that if they listened to fans, I think they'd be better off, like Anthem. What the hell are they doing with that game? They're definitely not listening to what little community they had.
Don't even get me started.
I can't wait for Destiny 3 so they can sell me a $40 expansion to fix the base game. They've done it twice. If they do it 3 times, I am clowning every Destiny fan into oblivion. Honest to God.
Wow. Only a little bit.
No, like full on. If Destiny 3 launches and it's devoid of content again, and they're like, hey, we're going to change the level up system in this $40 expansion that's not included in the season pass.
I won't even be buying it.
And shut up. You'll buy it just like you bought Destiny 2 and you bought Forsaken. And now you're buying Shadowkeep and...
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will.
See, I remember when Destiny launched and they're like, this is a 10-year game. No, this is 10 years of us funneling money out of your pocket endlessly.
Damn it, Activision.
I always used to make fun of my one friend. He was like super into Destiny. He has like 100 days in the first Destiny. And I'm like, Bungie literally created black tar heroin, except in video game format.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, come here. The next
Blizzard
update
was the first people to do that. The first people.
they were the
World
first people to do
Warcraft,
that,
man.
except for the fact they didn't constantly disappoint their fan base and then promise to fix it the next time around.
Yeah, no, they did, but
Yeah,
we had
but
to be dragged on for
not-
like 3 to
not-
4
not as-
expansions.
not as quickly as Destiny did. Like, I don't know if you guys remember when Destiny launched and everyone was like, "This is it."
Yeah, and at least World of Warcraft still has like 13 million subscribers playing that game at like $25 a month.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm interested in Destiny 3 simply because I want to see, like, they don't have Activision's money pool to fall back on now.
No.
So I kind of want to see what they're going to do.
I would prefer that they actually take a break, have a team focus on keep providing Destiny 2 content, but bring us a new game. Come on, just give it a break. Give us something.
I'm kind of interested. I wanted to pick Sam's brain about this at some point. I think we might do an episode on this. Is what are these service games going to do come next gen? Because we have backwards compatibility confirmed for PS5 and Xbox Scarlet. So are they just going to keep going? Are we going to get upgraded versions of these games? Like, how is that going to work? Are we going to get Overwatch 2 and Rainbow Six Siege 2? Like, what? Like,
that is a very, very good question, and it deserves its own discussion.
Absolutely. Because like I'm sitting there and like it seems like suicide right now for all these developers that are like, we're releasing a service game on last generation consoles in 2020. I'm like, why not wait? Like I'm actually at the point to rope it back to Last of Us Part 2. I'm kind of sitting there like, if I had been Sony, I actually would have kept this game in my pocket, not announced it at PSX, and actually held this game in my pocket as a PS5 launch title. Because the amount of hardware you would move saying The Last of Us Part 2 is a PS5 launch title. You got like 15 million consoles out the door. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. But it's coming on the tail end of the PS4, and with backwards compatibility, they're not going to be able to do what they did with the first one. It's remastered.
And also a question of when as well, and how long people will have to wait.
Yep. It
could be a while. You don't know. Like, they got to compete with next year's holiday, correct? Right? With Project Scarlet. That does happen, but
I'm kind of interested to see if they're holding back The Last of Us's multiplayer, because they're going to do a standalone multiplayer version of The Last of Us to kind of give them a egg in the basket versus Halo Infinite in terms of multiplayer. Because like The Last of Us is a well-known single-player game franchise, but if they're smart and play their cards right, and they're like, hey, you like The Last of Us? Here's a huge multiplayer game based around the universe of it. Like, it'd be a pretty easy sales pitch, honestly.
Oh yeah, definitely, because you already have a very heavily established fan base for this game. You've got probably some of the best outstanding reputation throughout the whole industry, and by that time, you've probably gotten the word of mouth of that game into people who haven't even played games before and gotten them interested in it as well. So to double down on that and be like, okay, you know what, you guys like this so much, we're going to probably give you just as much content, but here's the multiplayer version, and here's all these new things you can do and all this fun stuff you can do in a multiplayer co-op format. Go for it. Do it, and they'll still sell like mad.
Yeah. I don't think Sony's going to neglect the multiplayer idea. There was something that was brought up in my Twitter feed, and we're going to wrap up on it, is everyone remembers Sean Layden saying they were going to dabble in the PC market with their multiplayer games and their smaller titles.
Mm-hmm.
You imagine the Twitter meltdown if there's a standalone Last of Us multiplayer game that's available on PC?
I mean, I don't get the outrage.
Oh,
If
man.
they
I don't-
add
I
more
don't-
games to PC, it's more players. It's more money.
See,
Yeah.
I don't get the outrage either, but the thing is we're not as emotionally invested as some people are.
But my exclusives, man.
No, see,
Exclusives.
it's always so stupid to me when people fight over exclusives like it's owning a Corvette. It's like, man, I can go to Walmart and buy that shit. It doesn't
There's
make
probably
you
been
cool
more-
because you.
Oh man.
It doesn't make you
Ugh.
cool because you went to Walmart and spent your big boy money on a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One.
Yeah, that always makes me laugh when like these fanboys on all sides act like you can't go do the same thing.
Yeah, the only fanboys that get to flex like that are PC gamers. Like, why get into an argument with a PC gamer? They're like, I have a $5,000 PC. I'm like, well,
You got me there, Chief.
you're the captain now.
I am the captain now.
So, all in all, Last of Us Part 2, once again, it's one of those things like we play video games. We're going to be there day one for it. It's just the way it is. So, our next episode next week is actually going to be a special one because it's going to be a wrap-up episode, so to speak. We're going to talk about the games that are remaining to come out this year. Because this next week is the last lull before we basically get hit with a AAA game, at least 2 AAA games a week up until January. Because Ghost Recon kicks off October 4th, I believe, which is it October 4th or is it the 3rd? It's the Friday. Yeah,
it's the 4th. It's
Yeah.
the 4th.
Yeah, so we're going to have a ton to talk about. We're going to talk about what games we're looking forward to most, what games we think are going to do well, what games are not going to do well. It's going to be a good time. Anything you guys want to say in conclusion?
There's plenty of good games. Go play them.
Just
Yeah.
just enjoy your damn games. They're good, and the devs will love you for it. Appreciate their work.
Yeah, if you're spending your time online saying like, or if you're spending your time online raging, but then you turn around and say, man, I have such a tremendous backlog. I have no time to play these games. Figure it out. Figure it out. Go sit in that corner and figure it out.
Take off your shoes, count your toes, figure it out.
Right.
Figure it out,
I'm not-
there, bud.
I'm not helping you with this problem. You know how to do this. Sit down. Figure it out.
Figure it out.
It's pretty sad most of the time when I interact with people, they're being dumb in my mentions. I have to talk to them like my 4-year-old daughter. All right, sit down. What's wrong? Why are you upset? Why are you crying? It's not that serious. I basically have an emergency Kleenex box that's called when a game goes exclusive to the Epic Game Store that I dole out to my PC friends.
Jeez.
So we'll do outros and where you can find content from all these guys here. So Sam, where can people find what you write and what you do?
You can find everything I write on different Mobile Nation sites, such as iMore, Android Central, and Windows Central. If you play Monster Hunter World Iceborne and you're not sure where to find all the costumes for your beloved Poogie, I have a list for you. Go check it out.
A poogie?
I'm gonna have to censor that out because that sounds like it could be offensive to someone in a European country somewhere.
Jeez, Sam.
It's a pig. It's a cute pet pig. It's a Poogie.
Meanwhile, Sam's offended half of Ukraine, and Putin's gonna come onto my show and beat my ass.
And what if Putin is like a huge Monster Hunter World fan?
Oh my god!
He's actually looking at the article. He's like, excellent.
This is good.
Excellent. Now my Poogie will look awesome too. Good lord. Jared, where can people find you?
Oh, people can find me on Twitter at RageVirus_X and as well at TickGamesNetwork.com.
Right on. And Eric?
You can find me as well on Twitter, EC Jackson with an X. And when we're not doing this, you can find me on Brat Podcast Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock.
Right on. And I'm Nicholas Downey. You can find me on Twitter at Undead3XVI. You can find all my socials, gaming profiles, everything under that tag. I want to thank you guys for tuning into the Gaming Perspective episode 7. We will see you guys next week with our breakdown of the best games coming out for the remainder of 2019. We hope you enjoyed this episode. It's good to be back, and we will be back every Monday going forward.